Welcome to Storytell Kids.
Once upon a time, in a charming little village, there lived a kind and hardworking girl named Lena. Every single day, she helped her stepmother and her lazy stepsister with all the chores. Lena swept, cooked, and fetched water from the well, always with a smile and never a single complaint. One sunny morning, as she was drawing water, her spindle slipped right out of her hand and tumbled deep, deep down into the well. Oh no! Lena knew her stepmother would be furious. She leaned over the edge, trying to see it, and suddenly she fell in two. But when Lena opened her eyes, she wasn't at the bottom of a dark, wet well. Instead, she found herself in a magical meadow, bursting with golden flowers and the sweet songs of birds. A bit bewildered but full of curiosity, she started walking. Soon, she came upon a quaint little cottage. In the doorway stood a kind-looking old woman with eyes that sparkled like stars. "Don't be afraid, child," the woman said gently. "I am Mother Holle. If you stay with me and help me with my chores, I promise to take good care of you." Lena, with her good heart, happily agreed. Every day, she worked cheerfully. Her favorite chore was shaking Mother Holle's giant feather bed. She'd shake it so hard that the feathers would fly out and fall down to earth like fluffy white snowflakes. She also swept the floors until they shone and helped bake delicious, warm bread. Mother Holle was absolutely delighted with Lena's kindness and hard work. After some time, she said, "You have served me so well, my dear. It's time for you to go home. But before you leave, I have a special surprise for you." She led Lena to a magnificent, shimmering doorway. As Lena stepped through it, a shower of glittering gold coins rained down all over her. She was covered from head to toe in sparkling gold. "This is your reward for your kindness and hard work," Mother Holle said with a warm smile. Lena thanked her from the bottom of her heart and, in a flash, found herself back beside the well, safe and sound, and holding her amazing golden gift. When she got home, her stepmother and stepsister's jaws dropped. They were green with envy. The greedy stepsister decided she wanted a golden reward too. So she deliberately threw her spindle into the well and jumped right in after it. She found Mother Holle's cottage, but she was lazy and rude. She refused to shake the feather bed, complaining it was too much work, and she wouldn't even think about sweeping the floor. Mother Holle just shook her head sadly. When it was time for the girl to leave, Mother Holle said, "A surprise awaits you, but this time." As the girl stepped through the doorway, it wasn't gold that rained down. It was a shower of sticky, black soot that covered her from head to toe. From that day on, everyone in the village recognized the lazy girl by her sooty face. But Lena, with her heart as bright and pure as the gold she had earned, lived happily ever after. And the story reminds us all that a kind heart and a willingness to help always bring the most beautiful rewards. Thanks for watching our story today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more wonderful tales. See you next time!
In a peaceful little village, there lived a kind girl named Bella. She adored books, songs, and animals. Everyone loved her for her warm smile and her willingness to help. She lived with her father, a brilliant inventor of little toys and music boxes. They didn't have much, but their lives were filled with happiness. One evening, Bella's father set off to another town to sell his creations. On his way back, a fierce storm rolled in. The wind howled, and he soon found himself lost in the shadows of a dark forest. Just when he had lost all hope, he spotted a colossal castle hidden among the trees. The gates creaked open as if by magic, and a warm, inviting light spilled out. He stepped inside cautiously. It was a strange yet enchanting place. A table was set with warm food, a welcome sight for the cold and tired traveler. After he ate and rested, he noticed a stunning red rose blooming in the garden. Knowing how much Bella loved flowers, he plucked it for her. But in that instant, a terrifying roar echoed through the air. A huge beast appeared, towering and fearsome, with sharp claws and teeth. "You took my rose!" he growled. "For that, you must stay here forever." Bella's father pleaded for his freedom. The beast made a deal. He could leave, but only if someone returned to take his place. When Bella heard the story, she didn't waste a moment on tears. She hugged her father tightly and said, "Don't worry, Papa. I will go to the castle. I will save you." With a small bag packed, she journeyed into the forest. The beast, surprised by her bravery, opened the gates. "I will stay," Bella declared. "Let my father go." The beast agreed, and her father returned to the village. At first, Bella was terrified of the beast's monstrous appearance, but she soon discovered he wasn't mean. He spoke to her softly, gave her a beautiful room, and allowed her to wander the gardens freely. Day by day, Bella explored the enchanted castle. She found a magnificent library with thousands of books, a grand ballroom, and even talking furniture. Every night, the beast invited her to dinner. He was shy, sometimes even funny, and slowly, Bella found herself smiling and talking to him as a friend. One day, the beast showed her a special rose. "When the last petal falls," he explained, "I will remain a beast forever. Unless someone truly cares for me." Bella looked at him kindly and said, "You're not scary once you get to know you. You're kind." For the first time in years, the beast's heart felt a flicker of warmth. One night, using a magic mirror, Bella saw that her father had fallen ill. She missed him terribly, and tears streamed down her face. Seeing her sadness, the beast said, "You can go to him. I will miss you. But your happiness is what matters most." Bella hugged him. "Thank you, beast. You are a true friend." She hurried home to care for her father. But in her absence, the beast grew weak and desolate. The final rose petal was about to fall. Through the magic mirror, Bella saw the rose wilting and knew she had to go back. She rode through the pouring rain and found the beast lying in the garden, too weak to even speak. She held his paw, her tears falling onto it. "Please don't leave me," she cried. "You are my best friend. I love you for who you are." In that very moment, a brilliant light enveloped the castle. The rose glowed, and the beast was lifted into the air. The curse was broken. Before Bella's eyes, he transformed into a handsome prince. The castle lit up, the furniture cheered, and the prince smiled at her. "Your love and kindness broke the spell," he said softly. Bella and the prince danced in the grand ballroom, and the villagers came to celebrate their joy. The castle was alive with laughter and music. Bella's father beamed with pride for his brave daughter. The prince and Bella promised to rule their kingdom with the same kindness and love that had brought them together. And they all lived happily ever after. This story reminds us that true beauty shines from within, and that kindness and love have the power to change everything. Thank you so much for watching with us today. Today we're journeying into a vast green jungle, a place full of life and sunshine. Deep within this jungle lived a remarkable buffalo named Baloo. He wasn't just big and strong. He was incredibly smart and kind-hearted, which made him a friend to all the other animals. Whether it was a little rabbit needing protection or a lost bird needing directions, Baloo was always there to help. But every sunny place has its shadows. In a dark, dense part of the forest, there lurked the big bad wolf. This wolf was the exact opposite of Baloo. He was greedy, sneaky, and always plotting his next meal. With his sharp teeth and quick legs, he was a real menace to the jungle's peaceful residents. One scorching afternoon, as Baloo was enjoying a cool drink by the river, the Wolf spotted him from a distance. The Wolf muttered to himself, his eyes gleaming with greed. That buffalo looks absolutely delicious. If I can just catch him, I'll have enough food for a week. But the Wolf was cunning. He knew a direct fight with the strong and clever Baloo would be foolish. So he decided to use his favorite weapon, a trick. The very next day, the Wolf approached Baloo with a sickly sweet smile. "Hello, my dear friend Baloo," he said in his most charming voice. "Why do you waste your time by this muddy old river? I know a secret place, a beautiful green meadow on the other side of the forest. The grass is so fresh, and the water is crystal clear. Let's go there together." Baloo looked at the Wolf, his wise eyes narrowing slightly. He could sense the deception in the Wolf's sugary words. But instead of saying no, a clever idea sparked in his mind. He smiled calmly and replied, "That sounds wonderful. Let's go tomorrow morning." That night, while the jungle slept, Baloo was busy thinking. "The Wolf wants to lure me into a trap," he thought with a grin. "But I'll show him that a sharp mind is much stronger than sharp teeth." Before sunrise, Baloo got to work. He found a large, tough sack and filled it with thorny branches and sharp twigs. Using strong vines, he tied the sack securely to his back, like a prickly backpack. Just as planned, he met the Wolf at the edge of the forest. The Wolf couldn't stop licking his lips, already imagining his buffalo feast. "Today's the day," he whispered to himself, completely unaware of Baloo's clever preparation. As they walked deeper into the forest, the Wolf decided to make his first move. He suddenly stopped and pretended to be exhausted. "Oh, Baloo," he whined, "I'm so tired. I need a little rest." "Why don't you go on ahead? I'll catch up soon." Baloo knew this was a trick. The Wolf wanted to attack him from behind. So he replied with a cheerful tone, "Of course, my friend. But you should really keep up. I'm carrying this special bag, and it's filled with treasure. I'll share it with you once we reach the meadow." The Wolf's ears perked up. "Treasure?" he thought, his greed overriding his hunger. The thought of gold and jewels was too tempting. Forgetting all about his plan to attack, he followed Baloo closely, his eyes glued to the mysterious sack. Soon, they came to a narrow wooden bridge over a fast-flowing river. The Wolf saw his perfect chance. "Now," he thought, and with a mighty leap, he pounced onto Baloo's back. But instead of sinking his teeth into soft flesh, he landed right on the sack of thorns. "Yo!" He howled in agony, jumping back in shock. He tumbled onto the grass, his fur riddled with painful scratches. Baloo turned around, a calm look on his face. "Oh dear, Wolf," he said gently. "I told you it was a treasure, the treasure of wisdom." The Wolf was furious. His plan had backfired, and he was covered in painful thorns. But he wasn't one to give up easily. Limping along, he tried to regain Baloo's trust. "Oh, Baloo, that was just a silly joke. I'm sorry." "Let's keep going. I promise. No more tricks." Baloo smiled, but he was far from fooled. As they entered an even thicker part of the jungle, Baloo spotted something suspicious, a deep pit hidden under a layer of dry leaves. It was obviously another one of the Wolf's traps. The Wolf pointed ahead and said, "You go first, my dear friend. I'll follow right behind you." But Baloo simply stepped aside. "Oh no," he said politely. "After you. Guests should always go first." The Wolf, not wanting to look like he was hiding something, took a hesitant step forward and plunged straight into his own trap. "Help! Help me!" he cried from the bottom of the pit. Baloo peered down at him and said calmly, "You see, Mr. Wolf, you tried to trick me, but you ended up caught in your own scheme." This just proves that intelligence is far more powerful than trickery. And with that, Baloo turned and walked away, leaving the Wolf to reflect on his failure. When Baloo returned to the sunny part of the jungle, all the animals came out to celebrate. The monkeys chattered with joy, the rabbits clapped their paws, and the birds sang a new song. "Hooray for Baloo, so brave and wise! He beat the Wolf with a clever surprise." From that day forward, the big bad wolf never bothered anyone in the jungle again. Baloo became a true hero, not for his size or strength, but for his brilliant mind and his good heart. And the moral of our story is that quick thinking and wisdom are often your greatest strengths. They can help you overcome any challenge, even a big bad wolf. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed our story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our story time. Early one sunny morning, deep in the whispering woods, a gentle young deer named Daisy opened her eyes to a world full of color and sparkle. She stretched her long legs and blinked as beams of golden sunlight peeked through the trees. "Today feels special," Daisy said softly, her eyes twinkling. "I think I'll go on a little forest walk." As Daisy trotted along the soft mossy path, butterflies fluttered around her, their wings shimmering in every color of the rainbow. She stopped to sniff a patch of bluebells that rang with the tiniest ding-dong sound when the breeze blew. "Good morning, Daisy," chirped a cheerful bluebird from a nearby branch. "Good morning, little bird," Daisy replied with a smile. "Isn't it a lovely day for exploring?" The bluebird nodded and flew beside her as she wandered deeper into the forest. The air sparkled with tiny glowing specks of magic, like dust made of sunshine. Soon Daisy came to a crystal-clear stream, where fish swam like living jewels, red, gold, and silver. She dipped her hoof in and giggled as the cool water tickled her legs. The ripples glowed faintly, as if the water itself was enchanted. Suddenly, Daisy heard a soft humming sound. She followed it and found a patch of glowing mushrooms. Each one lit up in a different color: pink, green, and blue, like tiny forest lanterns. She twirled and danced around them, her laughter echoing through the trees. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with orange and pink, Daisy spotted something incredible: a giant tree with golden leaves that shimmered like stars. She approached it quietly and heard the gentle voice of the forest whisper, "Thank you, Daisy, for walking with kindness and joy. You've spread our light today." The tree's golden leaves rustled softly, and one gently floated down onto Daisy's hooves. It glowed warmly, filling her heart with peace and happiness. As she made her way home under the twinkling night sky, Daisy smiled. She knew that every time she walked through the forest, magic would always walk beside her. Thank you for joining Daisy on her magical walk. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more enchanting adventures. See you next time. Once upon a time, on a beautiful warm summer day, a cheerful grasshopper was hopping and skipping through a lush green field. He had his little violin with him, and he spent his days singing and playing happy tunes. He was having the time of his life. Not too far from him, a very hardworking ant was busy. She was carrying heavy grains of food, one by one, all the way back to her tiny home. She didn't stop to rest, working from sunrise to sunset. Seeing the ant toiling away, the grasshopper couldn't help but laugh. He called out, "Hey, little ant! Why are you working so hard on such a lovely day? Come and join me. Let's sing and play together. The sun is shining and the weather is just perfect for fun." The ant paused for a moment, wiped her brow, and smiled kindly at the grasshopper. "I'm collecting food for winter," she explained. "These sunny days won't last forever, and I need to make sure I have enough to eat when the cold weather comes." But the grasshopper just chuckled again. "Winter? Oh, that's so far away. There's plenty of time for that. I'm going to enjoy the sunshine now and worry about work later." And so the summer days passed. The ant continued her hard work, her pantry growing fuller each day, while the grasshopper sang, danced, and relaxed without a care in the world. Before they knew it, the season began to change. The bright green leaves turned to gold and red, and then they started to fall from the trees. The air grew chilly, and the days became shorter. Winter had arrived. A thick blanket of white snow covered the fields, and there was no food to be found anywhere. The grasshopper was now cold, hungry, and shivering. He had no home and no food. Desperate, he remembered the hard-working ant. He trudged through the snow and knocked weakly on her door. "Dear ant," he pleaded, his voice trembling, "I'm so cold and hungry. I have nothing to eat. Can you please help me? The ant opened her door and saw the poor, shivering grasshopper. She felt sorry for him and invited him inside her warm, cozy home. She shared her food with him, and as they sat together by the fire, the grasshopper sighed. You were right, he said sadly. I should have worked during the summer instead of just playing all the time. The ant nodded kindly. It is important to remember that there is a time to work and a time to play. When you work hard first, you can truly enjoy the rewards later. From that day on, the grasshopper learned his lesson. He promised himself that he would balance his time wisely. When the next summer came, he worked alongside the ant, gathering food. And when winter returned, he had his own cozy home and plenty of food to last. The moral of this story is simple but powerful. Work hard today so you can enjoy a better tomorrow. It's all about finding the right balance between fun and responsibility. Planning ahead is the key to staying safe and happy. Thank you so much for listening to our story today. If you enjoyed it, lovers, and welcome back to our magical corner of YouTube. Today, we're diving into a classic tale about finding something truly special in the most unexpected way. So, get comfy, and let's begin the story of the Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, in a bright and beautiful kingdom, there lived a young prince. He was kind, brave, and loved by everyone. But there was one thing he wanted most of all: a real princess to be his best friend and, someday, his partner in life. The prince had met many princesses from faraway lands, but he could never be sure if they were truly princesses. Some were gentle and some were kind, but he was searching for someone with a heart so sensitive and true, a real princess. One dark and stormy night, as rain poured down and thunder rumbled across the castle, a soft knock came at the grand doors. The old king himself went to open it and found a young woman standing on the doorstep. She was completely soaked from the rain, her cloak dripping onto the floor, and her hair stuck to her cheeks. Please, she said politely, her voice gentle despite the storm. May I have shelter for the night? I am lost and caught in this terrible weather. The king and queen, being kind rulers, welcomed her in immediately. But the wise old queen had a clever idea. She whispered to the prince, "Tonight, my son, we will see if she is a real princess." In the guest room, the queen prepared a very special bed. First, she placed a single tiny green pea right in the center of the bedstead. Then, she had her servants stack 20 soft mattresses on top of it, and then 20 more fluffy feather beds on top of those. It was a bed so tall, you'd need a ladder to climb it. If she can feel this tiny pea under all these layers, the queen said softly, then we will know she is a true princess. The princess, completely unaware of the secret test, was shown to her room. She climbed the towering pile of beds, snuggled under the warm covers, and yawned, ready for a good night's sleep. But all night long, she tossed and turned. Something small and hard seemed to be poking her, and no matter how she shifted or moved, she just could not get comfortable. Sleep simply wouldn't come. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the tall castle windows. The birds were chirping, and the flowers in the garden sparkled with fresh dewdrops from the storm. The queen entered the room and asked kindly, "Good morning, my dear. How did you sleep?" The princess rubbed her tired eyes and replied with a sigh, "Oh, I barely slept a wink. It felt as though I was lying on something hard. And it kept poking me all night. I'm quite sore this morning. I couldn't get comfortable, no matter what I did." The queen's face broke into a wide, knowing smile. She turned to her son and declared, "She felt the pea. She is a true princess." The prince's eyes widened with pure joy. "A real princess," he exclaimed. Gentle, kind, and with a heart so sensitive and true. The princess looked puzzled for a moment, then laughed softly when they explained the test. "A pea? How clever! I suppose that explains why I felt something poking me. What an unusual way to find out." From that day on, the prince and the princess became the very best of friends. They spent their days exploring the castle gardens, playing with the friendly animals, and sharing countless stories and fits of laughter. The tiny green pea, the cause of her sleepless night, was placed in a golden jar in the royal museum as a reminder that even the smallest things can reveal the greatest truths. And so, the prince and princess lived happily ever after, in a castle filled with love, laughter, and a little bit of magic. What a wonderful story about how true character can shine through in the most surprising tests. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you love this fairy tale, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another story time with us. Until next time, stay magical. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, lived a kind couple who longed for a child. Behind their home lay a magnificent garden. But it belonged to a fearsome witch named Mother Holle, and everyone was too afraid to go near it. One morning, the wife spotted a lush green plant called Rapunzel growing there. She craved it so deeply that her husband, seeing her despair, decided to risk everything. That night, he snuck into the garden to pick some for her. But just as he grabbed the leaves, Mother Holle appeared with a terrifying hiss. "How dare you steal from my garden?" she shrieked. The man, trembling, explained it was for his wife and their unborn child. The witch considered this and made a chilling offer. "You may take the Rapunzel," she said, "but in return, you must give me your baby when it's born." Heartbroken, the couple agreed. Soon after, a beautiful baby girl was born. As promised, Mother Holle arrived and snatched her away. She named the baby Rapunzel and locked her in a tall, isolated tower deep in the forest. The tower had no doors and only a single window at the very top. As Rapunzel grew, so did her hair, becoming incredibly long and radiant, shining like spun gold. Every day, the witch would visit, standing at the base of the tower and calling out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would then unpin her long, thick braid, letting it tumble down to the ground, and Mother Holle would climb up it like a rope. Alone in her tower, Rapunzel found solace in singing. Her sweet melodies filled the air as she dreamt of the world she could only see from her window. She longed to explore the forest, touch the flowers, and dance under the stars. One day, a prince was riding through the forest when he heard the most enchanting song. He followed the sound until he found the mysterious tower. Curious, he hid behind a tree and watched as the witch called for Rapunzel to let down her hair. The next day, the prince returned and decided to try it himself. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," he called. To his astonishment, the golden braid descended. He climbed up and found Rapunzel, who was startled, having never seen anyone but the witch. But the prince's kind smile quickly put her at ease. "Don't be afraid," he said softly. "I heard your beautiful singing and just had to meet you." From that day on, the prince visited her daily. They shared stories, laughed, and dreamt of a life together, free from the tower. One evening, the prince made a promise. "Rapunzel, I'll bring a rope ladder tomorrow. We can escape this tower together and go to my kingdom." But their secret was discovered. The wicked witch, in a fit of rage, took a pair of scissors and snipped off Rapunzel's magnificent hair. She then cast Rapunzel out into a desolate, lonely part of the wilderness. When the prince arrived and called out, he began to climb what he thought was Rapunzel's hair. But at the top, he was met by the glaring eyes of Mother Holle. "You will never see your precious Rapunzel again," she cackled. Overcome with grief, the prince fled into the forest, wandering blindly, searching for his lost love. Meanwhile, Rapunzel learned to survive on her own. She befriended the animals of the forest, and despite her sadness, she never gave up hope. One afternoon, as she was singing a familiar, sorrowful tune, she heard a voice call her name. It was the prince. They ran into each other's arms, weeping with joy. As Rapunzel's tears of happiness fell onto the prince's face, a miracle occurred. Her tears healed him, and his sight was restored. Together, they returned to his kingdom, where the king and queen welcomed Rapunzel with open hearts. They were married in a grand celebration, and Rapunzel finally got to see the beautiful world she had only dreamed of. They lived happily ever after, their lives filled with the love and courage that had brought them together. This story reminds us that with hope and courage, we can overcome even the highest towers in our lives. Thank you so much for joining me on this magical journey today.